Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem El Shai, Makakodah Shalom to the 144,000. At the Motb, or the Mark of the Beast, Bishop Nate, which this is a response to this video put up by GMS Inquire Early 2. And you see the title of the video, Sanctions Are Not. The Motb, Bishop Nate, hashtag Motb, hashtag shake my damn head, SMDH, hashtag the chip. So I'm just going to let this play and I'll say a few words. I just played the part where he spoke, and I'm going to play some of the rest of it. This is a 16-minute video, so let's see where I take this. He goes into the time of Jacob's trouble, which he said there's not going to be no time of Jacob's trouble, which clearly he took away from the scriptures. But then he did a 180 and said, if you listen to me closely, old morons, I did say there was a time of Jacob's trouble. No, you did not, because we had recently found the actual video with the Benjamite interviewer. And the man kept saying the same thing. There is got to be a time where it's sort of slavery. And you kept saying, nope, there's not going to be a time of Jacob's trouble. And you getting the man up, you giving the man agita, So you said that nothing back then, 5 years ago, whatever, there was nothing happening. Well, it's a prophecy. Daniel 12:1 is a prophecy. Of course, nothing was happening at that time. That doesn't mean that it's not going to come. And then you kind of said, you didn't say the mark of the beast and the microchip, but you kind of hinted it was first for countries, now it's for individuals. That's what you said, and you're going to listen to it, where when you go back to 2014, whatever, he said 2013, 2014, he said it's Revelation 13 and 16. It has nothing to do with individuals. It has everything to do with countries and companies. It has nothing to do with people. But the 17th verse says, and that no man can buy, meaning man, woman, or child can buy without the mark of the beast. So now you're saying it's individuals. You never said that back more than 10 years ago. So, why would people follow you when you switch it up? So let's go ahead and listen.
I told my son, because he with me, I said, hey, if they don't let me in the country, just go and meet the brothers, I'll fly back. Because they have a list. Like, I'm not allowed to go to Israel, the land of Israel. They got
Are you that dangerous?
No, I'm not. It's because of this. This book is dangerous.
So now that shows you right. Let me bring this back.
Let me in the country, just go and meet the brothers, I'll fly back. Because they have a list. Like, I'm not allowed to go to Israel, the land of Israel.
You're not allowed to go to Israel. You're not allowed to go to France. So how can you teach the gospel to the whole world? Because you say you got to bring it to the whole. There's a lot of places we got to cover, brother. We got to go to all these different places. Well, you can't go to France. What if there's elect in France that haven't heard the word? How are you going to wake them up? What if they elect among the people of Demona, the Israelites? How are they going to hear when you can't go over there? Your focus is on Africa when nothing's panning out in Africa. So this man's just going his own way. He's not following the scriptures.
They got
Are you that dangerous?
No, it's because of this. This book is dangerous. They put me on a list. They have a group called the Canary Mission. You know the ADL, Anti-Defamation League?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Where they have a list of people not allowed to go to Israel. So now I'm on that list.
Yeah, because you're not supposed to, you don't belong in Israel. You don't belong in the land of Israel. So wait a minute. So how can you get, if you're commanded to go to every nation and teach everybody on the planet Earth, how in the hell are you going to get over there? You see, it shows you how you don't make, it doesn't make sense.
For Israel, Jacob's trouble involves the mark of the beast and all.
Jacob's trouble involved the mark of the beast. You got to expound upon that. You never said that before. Jacob's trouble involves the mark of the beast. Which is true, but you don't know how to break it down. Which I said, what is it, 10 years ago, you said there's no Jacob's trouble is not going to happen. We're just going to la-di-da walk into the kingdom. That's what you said, la-di-da.
All that, where they create laws of sanction, where
Sanctions are not the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is an actual chip that they stick a, with, for lack of a better word, a hypodermic needle, and they put that chip in your right hand. If you're in another country, it'd be left hand or forehead. So you're not even explaining it right. Now, mind you, he mentioned Jacob's trouble, and something like 10 years ago, he said there's no Jacob's trouble. There's not going to be but is there a time when there's sort of slavery? But now, the time of Jacob's trouble is coming, and let me let it play again. Isn't that? I'm not putting words in this man's mouth.
Information League.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Where they have a list of people not allowed to go to Israel. So now I'm on that list for Israel. Jacob's trouble involves the mark of the beast.
Jacob's trouble involves the mark of the beast, which he doesn't explain. Jacob's trouble, and he doesn't explain the mark of the beast. We're the only ones that explain it the right way.
And all that, where they create laws of sanction, where if you
has nothing to do with a sanction.
You say certain things, they can sanction you, shut down your bank account. Okay, and they do it with countries. We see it with countries, but they're going to make it.
This is what he said back in 2014. It's not talking about people. It's talking about countries and companies. Big countries and small countries. Rich countries and poor countries. And he never read to the 17th verse where it says, when it mentioned the word man.
Now with individuals. If you say certain things, like in Canada, you're not allowed to read the laws of homosexuality, where God says, a man should not lay down with mankind as he does with women.
Because the focus is not in Canada. The focus is here in America. Because you can say that it's wrong for a man to lay down with another man in America. Why? Because the focus is here in America. You have no business being in Canada. Now you have certain groups up there that's teaching. But really, the focus, I keep saying that, the focus is here in America.
You go to prison. That's what's going on in Canada now. These laws is going to cover everything.
Now you got GMS camps up there that they ain't getting locked up.
Every place where they're going to forbid us to teach the Bible. In France, we had a school in France. They shut the whole school down.
So how are you going to reach the elect in France? I'm pretty sure there's elect in France. How in the hell are you going to, get to the elect in France? Maybe you should have never physically went over there in the first place. You could have went up under the radar. See, you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Okay, the government, President Macron, they said teaching that blacks are the Israelites is anti-Semitic.
Yeah, because he's juiced in. Give me a second.
Teaching that Jesus
Sorry
is
about
black
that.
Okay, the government, President Macron, they said teaching that blacks are the Israelites is anti-Semitic.
Basically, he's saying that the mark of the beast is here, and he doesn't have it. But wait a minute. He said his son, if they don't let me in, you go in. So I guess his son got the mark of the beast. See how this doesn't make any sense? See what happens when you blindly follow somebody and not consider what he's saying?
Teaching that Jesus is black is anti-Semitic. So they shut our whole school down. And many people know about it, but they said don't put it in the news. Wait.
They shut your whole school down. What does it say about, Matthew's 18? I always get them confused. Matthew's 18, Matthew 16, where it says the gates of hell. Matter of fact, let me go to it, and I can find out where it is. It's either Matthew 16 or Matthew 18. So the gates of hell did prevail against the ISUPK or the IUIC in France. Let's go to it. Matthew 18. Give me a second here. Okay, it's got to be 16. I always get them confused. Okay, it's 16. And let me go right to the point. Rock is there one time. Pharisees tested Yahweh Shai. Peter confession of the Messiah. Simon Peter answered and said, "Thou art the Messiah, the Son of the living God." So he said that flesh and blood didn't give it to you. It's the Spirit. Certain things we get through the Spirit. And he didn't read it in the book. And I say also unto thee, to you, that thou art Peter, which is a surname. The word in the Hebrew is kap. And upon this rock, and he's the rock, I will build my church, the elect of Israel, which involves us today. We're part of that rock. And the gates of the leadership of hell shall not prevail against it. So guess what? The gates of hell prevailed against the IUIC in France. The gates of hell prevailed against the IUIC in Israel. Because you have no business being over there. It says, I will build my rock, and upon this rock I will build my church. The church is here in America. And you're going to have brothers out in other parts of the world. But I keep saying that. How many times? I say that often. The focus of this gospel is here in America, not the Solomon Islands, not Nairobi, Kenya, not Nigeria. Nothing pens, not Japan. You got to camp up. Who the fuck in Japan listening to y'all? Because you doing your own thing. What does Proverbs 3 and 5 say? Trust ye in Yahweh and lean not upon thine own understanding. You doing what you want to do. So all that effort you put in to set up something in France, the government just got you out of there. The gates of hell did prevail against the IUIC in France. Like I said, if you'd have just had videos on YouTube, you would have stayed under the radar. Where are we? Here we go.
They wouldn't even give us a day in court. We said we want to go to court because we have our rights that we could teach the Bible. They said, no, not in France. You don't. So we see it's only going to escalate. It's going to go to America. It's going to come here. We know that. This is the time that we're living in.
So what are we supposed to do?
Repent of our sins.
Barakah Yahweh, Barakah Yahweh Shai, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwarash, giving double honors to the men that taught us His truth, being our apostles and our elders of the Church of Great Millstone, which is based out of New York, who are ruling well, Shalom, peace and love to all of the brothers that are laboring to push this true wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, continuing in the apostles' doctrine. Shalom, peace and love be unto the believers, the men, women, and children that are out there, that are listening and learning, all right, and waiting for the last but final prophecies to happen upon the planet Earth and the return of our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai. Now, I want to do a video response, which is going to be a quick video response to Nate, something that he said, on his appearance of this platform called 91 Productions UK, which is a sister out of the UK, and it seems as if she basically have a bunch of different people come on there, and tell of their different beliefs or tell their background story or whatever. So she has Nathaniel on there, Bishop Nathaniel of the IUIC, and basically in this part of him speaking, he's speaking on how they're coming up with these different anti-Semitic laws, and how he's on a canary list and he's banned from going to Israel, and that eventually they're going to put sanctions on people the way that they put sanctions on nations, and that's going to be the mark of the beast, which is completely off. All right, and he constantly keeps going off, on the mark of the beast breakdown, in every so little amount of time, they constantly switch it up. Now, I want you to hear this, which I'm going to play the video, and I'm going to pause it, here and there, to say my spiel, because he mentions a bunch of different things. So I'm going to go ahead and play it.
I didn't even think they was going to let me in the country. I told my son, because he with me, I said, hey, if they don't let me in the country.
So I assume he's saying that he doesn't believe that they were going to let him in the UK.
Just go and meet the brothers, I'll fly back. Because they have a list. Like, I'm not allowed to go to Israel, the land of Israel. They got
Are you that dangerous?
No, it's because of this. This book is dangerous. They put me on a list. They have a group called the Canary Mission. You know the ADL? Anti-Defamation?
No, Salaki, it's called the Canary Mission. And
yeah, they're similar to the ADL and the Southern Poverty Law Center. There's so-calls, Now, the reason why they don't allow him to come here because they think he has the truth. He has part of the truth. He doesn't have the whole truth. We have the whole truth. But that's a threat. And they're not about proving they establish themselves as we are those people, but they will not sit down and say, okay, we're going to have a debate as to who the people are. They're just saying we're the people, and that's it. It's not open for a discussion. So you stay away from them. You go up under the radar. The thing is to teach your people. When the Lord sent out the 70, he sent them to other Israelites. The Great Commission, which is Matthew chapter 10, he said, "Go not to the Gentiles and into the city of the Samaritans as ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as you go, preach saying." It didn't say you got to make sure Edomite get a full understanding of what this is all about. No, you tell him Edomite come up. You tell him he's an Edomite. He's going into captivity, and you want some more information. Read the Bible. Do a word search on the word Edom. Look up Edom, and that's what you are. That's what you are. Read the Bible, and then you understand why you're going into captivity. That's all you got to do. We don't got to sit back and have a 2-hour discussion to make Esau because he ain't going to accept it any goddamn way. Because in order for Esau to accept it, meaning he's accepting the fact that he knows he's going into captivity. Ain't no Edomite going to accept that.
Give me just 1 second. I want to look that up. It says about the Canary Mission. Canary Mission is an anonymously founded Israel-based pro-Israel website launched in 2015. It documents individuals and groups it claims promote hatred of.
don't the Canary go against the I government? Because that's definitely genocide. So they just protecting themselves. That's an organization protecting their people. No different than the ADL. Like anti-defamation means when you defame somebody, you have a group that will take the person to court for defaming you. When you find out and you go and you hire them, they say, no, we just only work with our people. So they're really not about defamation. They're about defamation against their people. These groups, the Canary Mission, which is new, 2015, that's another group which is similar to the ADL. And the Southern, and they're controlled and owned and created and founded by small hats for small hats. Because you got to keep that lie. If you got a lie going, you got to have the top lawyers and the top people, in case somebody defies what you teach, that you're not the people. I'm claiming that I'm the people. Well, we're gonna get you lawyered up and we're gonna get you out of the country. They like in the movie. It has to be part 3 of the Godfather. Michael Corleone said, "Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in." Well, there it goes. These small hats are thinking that they're the people, but people are going to come up and say, "No, you're not the people. You're going to have to come back in. You're going to have to prove yourself." So we go around them. Anytime we speak and we get them small hats that pass by the what do you call it? The Orthodox ones, we don't say nothing to them. Now, if they happen to come up and talk to us, they're free to talk to us, and we're going to tell them the truth. We're going to tell them that you guys are a bunch of Edomites. This truth is not hard. It's very simple. The simplicity in Yahweh Shai.
The U.S., Israel, all right, and tiny hats of North America, college campuses, targeting critics of Israelis' policies, Palestinian rights supporters, and the BDS movement with their personal information described by critics as a doxing and blacklisted operation that uses false accusations and anti-Sim to damage careers. All right, the stated goal is to ensure that today's radicals are not tomorrow's employees. You know, so basically they're trying to, stop you from getting employed, stop you from finding the job. All right? But anyways, that still has nothing to do with the Motb.
It has absolutely nothing to do with the Motb. And here he changed it again. And guess what? I said in the previous, I made a video earlier this morning. I said he knows that the way we teach it is the right way. He knows that. I just know in the spirit. He knows that. But there's a reason. There's 2 reasons why I believe he won't say anything. Because number one, he's going to look foolish if he goes before his congregation and say that the mark of the beast is actually the microchip. Or he got the bag. It comes down to 2 reasons why he teaches it wrong. He doesn't want to get embarrassed, because as soon as you say the spirit came to me, the mark of the beast is actually the microchip. What's going to go in what's going to pop up in the members of the IUIC's mind? Well, that means GMS was always right. Maybe we should be following GMS. Maybe the true leadership comes out of GMS. But they're not going to do it, because unless they're of the elect. If there are people among them that are actually of the elect, when he goes to tell them that bullshit, they're going to get up and leave. They're going to come, they're going to fight against him.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Where they have a list of people not allowed to go to Israel. So now I'm on that list for Israel. Jacob's trouble.
I don't know if I'm on that list or not, but I never went to Israel. Well, he went to Israel, and they were monitoring him. But I'm not going to go to Israel. I ain't got no business being there. What the fuck is there for me? What's there for me? Not a goddamn thing.
Trouble involves the mark of the beast and all that, where they create laws of sanctions.
He's breaking it down again. He's breaking it down. If he simply just said, what's the meaning of the word mark? he realized that the word mark is the word charagma, which is a device that you stick into something. It's that thing that's the size of a grain of rice that communicates with the 5G and the 6G. He knows it. Trust me. Believe me, y'all. He knows that we're 100% correct, but he can't admit to it because it would make him look like a fraud. They might say, well, how long have you known this? I've known this for 10 years. So that you mean to tell me you've been lying to us for 10 years? Because you always change the story. Just go back. Go back to 2014, 2013, 2016, and how he changes it. And at about 2014, he said it has nothing to do with people. Now he's saying the mark of the beast has everything to do with people. And he's pretty much saying in a roundabout way, he didn't take the mark. That's why they're not allowing him to go to other countries. But his men could go to other countries. Come on, man. You can do better than that. If you have somebody that's listening to you with a working fucking brain, a logical brain, they would see right through this bullshit. This is why we say, anybody in GMS, if you want to watch ISUPK, IUIC, Wi-Fi, any of them groups, the break off from Sakari or whatever, and you get caught up in that shit and you wind up falling out, that's on you. That's on you. Now, I guarantee you, I don't know if he says it, he probably says don't be watching GMS videos. Or I wouldn't watch them if I was you. Because if they were freely able to watch us, they can question him about something that they saw on our page. So he's pretty much like the small hats, man. He got to cover his ass. Like I said, if there's no elect among the members of the IUIC, they're going to all take the chip unless he changes. Unless when they make the breaking news, everybody got to get a chip, and you got a time limit. You got till the end of the month. You don't get the chip, you're out. You're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your house. You're going to lose everything, and you're going to be out on the street. What in the hell is he going to say? How is he going to break that down? Because he's playing games. He knows. I'm looking at him. He knows. He knows that what we're saying is the truth. He knows it. But I don't know why he's bucking up against it.
Where if you say certain things, they can sanction you, shut down your bank account. Okay, and they do it with countries. We see it with countries, but they're going to make it now with individuals.
Let me run that back.
Remember, he said now they're going to give it to individuals. You never taught that. You said it was countries and companies. Big countries and small countries. Rich countries and poor countries. And you said it has nothing to do with a person. Now you're saying, no, it's going to apply to people. I can't wait to see what he's going to say this Saturday. And he had that same fucking attitude with the Cornelius thing. We got kicked out because he and others said Cornelius is an Edomite. Then what happened after? They did research and they said, you know what? Cornelius is an Israelite. So everybody should have left the school. And what wound up happening? All them people that they had in their congregation, they all went back into the world. They all, including the other leadership. The only one that stayed, well, actually, Yahweh Sapp was on his own. He used to come up to our school in Connecticut. He came up to the Passover, along with Asaph or Deacon Asaph. They both came up to the Passover. And how do I know that? Because I remember when he came up, and I ran into Deacon Asaph, and he told me there was a young guy with Yahweh Sapp. I was that young guy, so he was a kid. He was probably a teenager. So they were looking for the truth. And then Yahweh Sapp ran into Nate, and Yahweh Sapp was going to tell him, I got more proof to prove that Cornelius is an Edomite. And then Nate said, nope, Cornelius is not an Edomite. Cornelius is an Israelite. So, is there anything on the record on the YouTube where this man says, "I'd like to apologize to the men in GMS for kicking them out, being part of kicking them out of the school, the synagogue, as the scriptures say. They shall cast you out of their temples." Did he apologize? He never apologized. He never apologized. So guess what? Is he going to apologize this time? Because we're not saying it might be the chip. We almost positive, we 99%. We're 1,000,000,000% sure. We are. Somebody might say, "Well, what if you guys, GMS is wrong?" My response is, we're not wrong. That's my response. We're not wrong. It's called a short thing.
Jacob's trouble involves the mark of the beast and all that, where they create laws of sanction, where if you say
This is a weak shithole breakdown. I had to borrow that from Trump. There's a shithole breakdown.
certain things, they can sanction you, shut down your bank account. Okay, and they do this.
You see how he tried to slip that in there?
You notice that he didn't say, well, there's a certain, if you say certain things, you teach the Bible the right way. You go to buy something from a supermarket or from BJ's or from Costco's or whatever, you can't buy. He doesn't say that. He'll say close your bank account. So that way you got to open up another bank account or deal with the check cash in place. No, that's not what it's talking about. You're wrong as the day is long.
Jacob's trouble involves the mark of the beast. You know, they're going to sanction people and shut down their bank.
But remember, he said there's no such thing as Jacob's trouble. We're just going to lolly-da walk in the kingdom. That's what he said.
Bank accounts. That has nothing to do with the mark of the beast. Although sanctions is a real thing, they can sanction countries, they can sanction people, you know, but however, when it comes down to the Motb system, the fiat currency is dead. Your bank account is dead. Your pension dead. Your 401k dead. Money is going to completely be worthless. So these financial institutions that you're using now, look, they're going to have. Why do you think that they're coming up with the central bank digital currency? Which they'll have government-based wallets, you know, for individuals that receive, you know, the Motb. Which on the Motb, they'll be spending digital currency. So the financial system as you know it, dead. So when the Motb rolls around, you don't have to worry about your bank account being shut down. And even before they make the Motb come online, which they already have the system prepared, all right, the dollar's going to collapse. All right, as it states within the book of Zephaniah 1 and 10. All right, it says, "And it shall come to pass in that day, said Yahweh, that there shall be a noise of a cry from the fish gate, and a howling, all right, from the second, and a great crashing from the hills." Yeah, the market, the New York Stock Exchange. All right, stocks, bonds, yields. All right, banks. There's going to be runs on the banks. But however, money is going to become completely worthless. How worthless is it going to become? Ezekiel 7 and 19 in the NLT, they will throw their money in the streets, tossing it out like worthless trash. All right, their silver and gold won't save them on that day, on the day of Yahweh's anger. All right, it would neither satisfy nor feed them. All right, for their greed can only trip them up, so it's not even going to feed them. All right, why? All right, because there's a such thing as hyperinflation. All right, which the book of Revelation, the 6th chapter, and the 8th verse speaks on that. Matter of fact, 6 and 6. And let me just highlight that. It says, "And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see that thou hurt not the oil of the wine. So, bread, or 3 loaves of bread of barley, or a loaf of wheat bread will cost a day's pay. All right, that's considered.
Now, I went into that Saturday. It was called the Baker's Rebellion, or the Bread Riots of 1863, where you had Edomite women. Let me see if I can find it. I doubt if I can find it, but let's see. I mean, you can look it up yourself. It's called the Bread Riots. Let me just go back to it. Let's see if it's on this list here. The Bread Riots of 1863. Southern Bread Riots. Give you a little bit of history here. If you watch the show, I went into it. I wanted to get the part with the governor calling the military. They were going to shoot these Edomite women. Let me do this. Bear with me for a minute. You know what? That's YouTube. Let me just do this. Bear with me for a minute, y'all. Southern Bread Riots. The Southern Bread Riots were events of civil unrest in the Confederacy during the American Civil War, perpetrated mostly by women in March, April of 1863. Though the Richmond riot was the largest, they occurred in cities throughout the Confederate states, the southern states, with hungry women and men entering and looting various shops and stores. They do that with Jake. Look at these people. These were Edomite women that were doing it. By mid-1861, the Union naval blockade. Now, they blocked food from coming into the South. That's what it was all about, to force them to join the Union, which was in violation of the Article of Confederation. Shut down the export of cotton and the export of cotton. So the northern states said, we're not taking your cotton. So they were losing money. And the import of manufactured goods, which came from the north, food that formerly came from more than a few hundred miles, was largely cut off. So to punish the southern states, the northern states said, we're going to cut everything off. We're not buying cotton from you, and we're not sending you nothing. By 1863, refugees had swollen the population of major southern cities, and severe food shortages, and this was by the North, depressed productivity and morale. Richmond, Virginia, the rebellion's national capital, was at the end of a long, vulnerable supply line. So what they did was, the North said, since you want to join the Union, we're going to cut off food from you. We're going to cut off any help. and you made your money. The South became rich through cotton, tobacco and cotton. So what the North did was saying we ain't gonna accept none of your cotton. So it's so bad that they couldn't get supplies to make bread. I want to read in another article here. Let me do this. Bear with me for a minute, y'all. Okay, you know what I want to do? Give me a second here. Look up the word governor. Okay, here it is. When a group of hungry Richmond women took their complaints to Virginia Governor John L. Letcher, he refused to see them. Their anger turned into a street march and attacks on commercial establishments. They looted stores. Only when the troops were deployed and authorities threatened to fire on the mob, these were Edomite women, did the riots disperse. They said, we're going to blow you away. I don't give a damn if you're a white woman. We're going to blow your ass away. We're going to fire on your ass. More than 60 men and women were arrested and tried, while the city stepped up its efforts to relieve the suffering of the poor and hungry. So that blockade from the North, they said, we're going to take your slaves and we're going to starve you out. So eventually what they did, they had a civil war. They was in the midst of the civil war, and the northern state, the 13 original colonies, they defeated them, and then they were forced to be a part of the Union. Then they went out to the West. They were pushing that out in the West. So everything this devil got, he got it by rape, by taking it. Ill-gotten gain. So let's come back over there. I had to cover that since we covered that Saturday. Give me a second, y'all. So let's go. Let's listen.
Hyperinflation, which means that money is going to become worthless. So they don't need to sanction a person's bank account. They don't need to stop a person, which that actually happens. That happened to a few different people. All right, it happened to Kyrie Irving. It happened to Kanye West, and there's a whole.
But Kyrie Irving didn't receive the mark of the beast. Kanye West didn't receive the mark of the beast. It's not mandatory yet. Like I said, I'm gonna say it again. He knows that the mark of the beast is the microchip. He just doesn't want to come off as a jackass.
Whole list of other people who were saying things against the tiny caps and had their bank accounts frozen or had to pay fines and had to openly apologize, or either had their careers ruined. But however, those individuals are still able to buy and sell. All right, they can still make money under the table. All right, they can open up, a business.
For him to get around the bank, they're gonna close the bank. That's the mark of the beast. He can get his wife to go to the bank. He can hire somebody to go to the bank. He can set up an agent to go to handle his money. You can do things without you doing it. You can have agents. People do that all the goddamn time.
Accounts in the name of a business. They can still make money. So we're looking for a system to come where you're not able at all to participate in society or able to buy and sell at all. It's a gridlock on it. Meaning that even if you try to do it in a roundabout way, this is the reason why they're interested in the Motb, which is RFID chip and the brain chip, and also blockchain technology. All right, which will be inside of those chips. It completely shuts you out. It shuts down any opportunity to make money. All right, and this includes biometrics, because they want to know who you are. All right, are you against this system? Are you against the rich elite banking families? And they're going to completely shut you out. So there's something that's coming that's worse than sanctions. You can still survive and live if sanctions are put on you. Hell, I've had situations happen to where they thought that there was fraud in my account and they locked out my bank account, but that didn't stop me from being able to, live. All right. Not being able to own a house, buy land, buy farmland, not being able to rent a car, not being able to work a job. All right, and all of that.
Now, when the chip comes, you can't do none of those things. You won't be able to drive a car because you ain't got a license, because you got to pay for a license, and the license is going to be in your chip. This is not hard. Like I'm gonna say it again. Was it the fourth time? He knows that we're breaking it down the right way. He knows that. He just doesn't want to look like a jackass.
That because you don't have this particular device. So you went off, Nate. All right, once more on the Motb. And then you're sitting here, speaking about not being able to go to... Why the fuck would you try to go to Israel anyway?
Because he's an idiot. That's why. He thinks he got his own plans. He got his own plan book. You had the Super Bowl, right? They go by a playbook. The coach calls for a certain play, and you do your own thing, and it doesn't work. Guess what? They're gonna bench your ass. And if you keep doing it, they're gonna put your ass on the shelf, and they're gonna have you clean out your locker. You don't defy what the coach says. Put me in, coach. That's a song. The Most High is the coach. He has the game plan, and you follow his game plan, not make your own game plan up. This guy's going to look like a real jackass when they make that announcement about the chip.
Nothing over there for us. Look, man, this America is the focal point of this truth. All right, this is where this truth is supposed to be preached and taught. All right, you don't have to go to Israel. Is it not written within the scriptures that their sound has went throughout all the earth? Let me end it off here, Zechariah 13 and 3 through 6 in the NLT. Because the time is coming where people are going to turn on these false prophets. These individuals that have been teaching lies. All right, in that day, look, these people that you have deceived are going to turn on you. They're going to whoop your ass. The book of Zechariah 13 and 3 through 6 in the NLT. If anyone continues to prophesy, his own father and mother will tell him, you must die. For you have prophesied lies in the name of Yahweh. And as he prophesies, his own father and mother will stab him. On that day, people will be ashamed to claim the prophetic gift. No one will pretend to be a prophet by wearing prophet's clothes. He will say, I'm no prophet, I'm a farmer. I began working for a farmer as a boy. And if someone asks, then what about those wounds on your chest? He would say, I was wounded at my friend's house. Because people are about to turn on these false prophets. False prophets at ISUPK, the false prophets at IUIC. All right, Hakah, Hassad. All right, when they find out that you deceived them, they're going to turn on you. Your congregations are going to turn on you, man. So I wanted to report on this. He tried to slip that in there, the time of Jacob's trouble. Will also include the Motb, and then try to make it seem as if the Motb is having sanctions put on you. and being shut out from your bank account. No, you will not be able to buy or sell except you have a mark in your right hand or in your forehead. Has nothing to do with sanctions, because people that get sanctions put on them, you get sanctions put on one bank account, you go and open up another one. We're talking about a system that completely shut you out completely. So with that, I truly hope that this lesson was edifying. Until the next time, Shalom.
Yeah, sorry about that. I just had to run to the room. So he's going to keep changing the story. And there's going to come a time where they're going to make that breaking news about the microchip. And then his people, the ones that are of the elect, if you have members of them that are of the elect, they're going to definitely turn against you. Hope that you say, I was wrong. It's a microchip. Don't take it. GMS was right. With that, I'm going to say shalom on to the next. We're coming down to the wire, y'all. Shalom.